Hello, everyone. Today I am going to be talking about the final exam, the 50 points, and the Telco 101 pre-installation site survey report. The due date is 3/15. That's the last day of the course. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to in the Telco 101, we'll go to the final exam, click on that, and it's going to show you the site survey report and then the final exam. The final exam is a 50 multiple choice and true and false questions. It's on um, all the material that we covered in the 7 modules, pretty much any of the review questions or any of the test questions at the end of those modules. So we just uh, captured some of the different questions from each one of those and made the final exam. So it shouldn't be anything new that you haven't encountered or know. It's You have plenty of time. I think as we allocated 2 hours to complete that. So if you wanted to go and review and take that, it shouldn't be a problem at all. The other item that we are using is this pre-installation site visit report. Now, what we're doing is we're providing a scenario for yourself. You're going to be a direct sales installation manager, and you will be assessing the customer's needs for a new telephone service drop to their residents. Now, what we'd like you to do is if you want to use your own home, you want to use your neighbor's house, you want to use a friend's, whatever, and do this site survey on them, that's perfectly fine. Um, what we're going to do is, or you're going to do, is take everything that you've learned so far in this course and create a report discussing or reviewing all the modules and the competencies that you've covered so far. So we'll just kind of go through this. So if I can explain a little bit more detail what I'm looking for so you have a better understanding. And then if you do have more questions, send me an email. But this is strictly up to you. This is your scenario. You can create it as long as you're covering all the information in this outline and the competencies in the rubric, which I'll show you in a little bit. You're going to get 100%. Okay. So, for example, project background and description. Why will you be installing POT service and using PSTN? This new customer is looking just to have uh, basic old telephone service. You could say this is their lake home, or that's all the service they're looking for because this is their summer home or winter home or whatever it might be. I don't care what kind of scenario or background description you create, as long as it makes sense. Number two, material and equipment needed for the site for the service order. Okay. Are you going to provide an overhead drop service, underground drop service, and why? Okay. Well, you might, and what type of cable and how many pair drop you might be using. Okay. These are all things I just want you to create. Well, they're going to have a home business, so they're going to have a couple different phone lines, one for their residents, one for their business. So you're going to at least need 2 pairs for that customer service. Now, project goals and objectives. How will this install take place? Okay, from the central office to the customer's NID. So realistically, you don't need to sketch it all out from the central office. What I would like you to sketch out is the drop where you're going to actually have the physical drop if it's going to be underground, in the actual customer's um, residence plot. So I'll just show you one thing. Here is Google Maps. Here's a neighborhood. So let's say the pet is right here and the customer is looking to put his NID right here. So in a simple hand sketch, you can put the house, you can put a house, or excuse me, this is our garage. Is there any obstacles? No, not really, because there's a yard. Now, if this is going to be this person's house, is there obstacles? Yes, because there's a swimming pool, here's a patio, here's a utility shed, here's a fence, here's a garden. So you wouldn't put an underground drop through a garden and so forth. So anything that you might think of that would be an obstacle. Other obstacles, gas lines, power lines, overhead or underground, trees. You don't want to be cutting someone's roots off of their brand new tree that they just planted. So these are all things that you can hand sketch that you can submit in your report. Remember, if you were the manager or doing the site survey, you'd have all this stuff in place to give to your drop crew so that they have an accurate place and path to put this new service in. So once again, this is a scenario. You can make it up how you want to do it, how detailed, as long as you're covering the information that I'm looking for. So with that, then we have the processes and insights, any troubles you might have encountered, installation or during the installation or after it was installed. This is your scenario. You want to make something up that you had a temporary drop, or once you put it in, the neighbor came and started digging to plant a tree and cut your drop. That's a trouble. You can put that in there. And how did you have to fix it? Anything that you want to put in your scenario, that's perfectly fine. How did you resolve any issues encountered, and how might you document your solutions? Okay, we kind of went through the documentations throughout this course, so you should have an understanding how the documentation process works. And then here's the last thing, follow the installation. What additional features and services will you provide to the customers? And these are like anything, call waiting, or we additional feature services. We had to wait till 5 o'clock till the customer got home to provide the service, or maybe it was on a weekend. We're just looking for things that you could think of, or maybe you've encountered what that would be useful in your report. Now, the last thing I want to cover is the rubric. The rubric, here's the scenario, just like you saw on the assignment page. Talks about everything that we just kind of went over. Here are the competencies. Each one of these modules are the competencies that you went over. Here's a grading scale. And here is what I'm going to have to grade you on, 1 through 5. Outlines, POTS, and PSTN services. So just kind of include this, or in your report, okay, I'm using buried cables because overhead cables the customer doesn't want. That's going to tell me you just covered both these areas. How many quantity of pairs cable? Customer just needs 1 pair, but our services always require that we bury a 6-pair drop cable just for future expansion or any type of problems that may occur in the future. You just cover those areas. So just cover these areas in your report and you should be fine. If you have any questions, send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. All right. Thank you.